Hey everyone, welcome to this interview with Rhonda Ryder. You might know her. If you don't know her, you have to check her out. The links are in the description for all the ways you can find more about her. What I find so special about Rhonda is that she just goes for something and she does it super well. I haven't known her that long in physical life, but as you know, if you know my channel and you know me a little, everything has already happened in framework too. So everyone that you know, it's no coincidence that you know them. And so it also feels like this with me and Rhonda. I resonate a lot with everything and everyone that she interviews, the things that she's interested in. And so logically, I wanted to know more about her. And that's why I asked to interview her. A little bit about Rhonda, if you don't know her. She's a longtime student and teacher of the Law of Attraction. And she has a podcast, Delicious Alignment and the Art of Abundance. So she has a book called Delicious Alignment, How 25 Women Learn to Love and Transform Their Bodies using Abraham Hicks and the Law of Attraction. And you can find the link to her podcast in the description. She also has a Facebook group in the description as well. And then she also has a free guided visualization on abundance for anyone that's interested in that. And there's also a link to that in the description. I hope you enjoy the interview, and I'll see you in the next. Bye-bye. Hi, Rhonda. Super nice that you're here. Thank you for making the time.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for
Yeah.
asking me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're one of the most inspiring people in my current life that I see, yeah, that
Oh, wow.
inspired
Thank you.
me. Yeah. So, um, I want to interview you to ask you some questions about who you are. Like you interview a lot of people and a lot of people that I really love listening to. And I love how you question them and just who you are and what you bring out in them and the conversations that you have. So, what is the first question? What brought you to interview people?
Great question. Yeah. I think I've always been an interviewer because um, I had my own business for over 20 years where I would write copy material, words, sales material, online material, mostly well, it started out, back in the day, writing brochures and ads and postcards and, whatever. I was in advertising. That's what I did. So when you get a client, what do you do to extract the information from them? You need to interview them. And I love that part of the job where I would interview people. I love that. And only to later realize, like last year, that yeah, that's part of like who I am. My DNA is like one-on-one into, just connecting with people. So it makes sense, right? I got my chart done in human design, and she kept saying, "Oh, it's perfect that you're doing a podcast. It's perfect." She kept saying that because you're wanting to connect one on one. So I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I do like group programs where I'm running a group, but I do like that one on one." So then I don't know. It was like with everything. I just kept getting the nudge from the universe, like the whisper. Do a
Can I,
podcast. Yeah,
can I,
do a
I
podcast.
yeah, I love that. So one step back maybe for me. So you had your own business for about 20 years. You had a human design chart done. Was that
before you did your podcast, or was that already when you had your podcast, The Human Design?
Already, this is year 3 that I'm doing the podcast. So last year, the end of last 2023, I had my chart done
Yeah.
in human design,
Yeah.
which I knew nothing about human design.
How did it come? How did it, like, how did Human Design find you?
Yeah, exactly. Things find us, right? So I, um, Raven Chaplin, do you know her? I'm
I've
not sure
heard
if
of
you know
her.
her.
I've heard of
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, she is she's also a spiritual coach. She's more like she does a lot of medium stuff as well. She's very intuitive. Anyway, she was just talking about Isabella Jones, who does human design charts, and she was talking about it. So I'm always on the lookout, for people to interview. So I contacted Isabella. Yeah.
And that's how, so you contacted Isabella to interview her, and then at the same time, or I don't know if it was on the show or.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Good point. So
yeah,
we had an initial chat just to
yeah,
kind of like explore what does this look like? Her being
yeah,
on my show, we had an initial conversation, like behind the scenes. What
yeah,
what would work? What would serve people the
yeah,
most?
yeah,
And just listening to her, we came up with, actually her doing my chart, people getting access, just watching her with a newbie like me, I know nothing about human design, and then her taking me through the whole, like, a session. So it's really a session that
yeah,
that is going to be a show available. Yeah.
yeah. And so, okay, you had your own marketing agency, I guess, for 20
Yes.
years. And then
Yes.
at one point you were, I'm just going to say a couple of things. If it doesn't fit, then please tell us
Okay.
later how it was. So you got bored, or you were just like, oh, this is not me. I want something different. What happened that made you say, okay, ciao, I'm going to do something?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I started becoming a caregiver for my mom. She wasn't living with me, but my mom was having a lot of problems. She went into a hospital, then a nursing home after nursing home, and it was just like became this big thing, like almost like another job, just with the paperwork and getting her taking care of everything. I don't know. And I was kind of burnt out, from marketing.
Hmm.
I needed a break anyway, but
Mhm.
it was just like I didn't have it in me anymore I just wanted to focus on my mom, and my dad too. I was actually helping him out too. So I just, like, you could say, retired. I
Yeah.
retired. Like, this is like 8 years ago, and I was took care of my mom. And then
Mhm.
after a couple of years, she actually passed. And then I continued to be, quote unquote, like, doing nothing. And
Mhm.
and after a couple of years of doing nothing, I was like so bored out of my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and then, as spirit does, it nudged me, and it nudged me to write a book.
Mhm.
So I
That
did
was
that.
about food. The book was about,
Yeah.
I think, about like how
Yeah,
to,
it's right there. Yes.
what does it say? What does
It's delicious
okay, it's
alignment.
alignment. It's the
Yes,
name of the
delicious.
podcast.
Yes, it's all tied together. Delicious alignment. Yes.
Ah,
Marketing
okay.
brain.
Yeah, no, well, I have
Yes.
a marketing brain as well. But then
Yes,
what
I know
what
you do.
marketing is actually, they gave it a name, but marketing is actually connection, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Law of
like,
attraction.
yeah, and how to voice or package things so that they appeal, but not with the idea necessarily, I'm going to package this so no, it's just like smart way of packaging things and fun way. Can be.
Well,
Can be.
yeah, I mean, that's a whole another story, right? Like when you get on this path, how you view marketing in the beginning,
Yeah.
very strategic oriented, very, planning
Manipulative.
goals,
Yeah.
and the way you go
Yeah.
when you get into this stuff that we talk about
Yeah.
is like, oh, marketing really is law of attraction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, okay. So then I love how you said the nudge, because you got the nudge from the universe, podcast. So I've had a similar experience where I really knew to distinguish between that's the voice that I'd better listen to because it's not going to stop until I follow this. And yeah, but that's just nonsense. That's a different voice. I really knew how to distinguish because of it was just a feeling. I'm curious how that was for you. Did you instantly understand when you heard the podcast that it was spirit speaking to you or your higher self or however you want to call it? Did you
Yeah.
instantly get it? Yeah.
No.
No. Okay.
I'm a little stubborn. Yeah.
So tell me what happened. Walk me through a little the first nudge.
Well, it's the same like with the book, which is Delicious Alignment, How 25 Women Learn to Love and Transform Their Bodies using Abraham Hicks and the Law of Attraction. So long, that's a mouthful, but the same with the book, that I was being guided to write the book. And like for 2 years, I said, no to my inner being, source, whoever.
Yeah,
I'm not the person to write
yeah,
that book.
yeah,
You know, I viewed myself as flawed, that I was
yeah.
overweight, that I'm not, Miss Fitness.
Who am I?
Who
Yeah,
am
who am I
I? Who
to?
am
Yeah,
I
yeah,
to write this book? But it kept on going, and I just got chills, and it just kept on coming at me or in me or however it works. And so finally, I remember just like walking. I remember in Florida, we were living in Florida at the time, walking around this lake, and I just said to my husband, okay, I'm just going to do it because I'm trusting. I'm going to leap and leap into the unknown and trust. I'm going to write the book.
yeah,
And that's the same thing that happened with the podcast,
yeah,
basically. I resisted for a little while. I
yeah,
questioned, I analyzed, I tried to
yeah,
use the logical brain, which we know the logical brain is great for 3D living, but when you start living a spiritual life, you're way beyond that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the teachings of Bashar?
A little bit.
Okay.
I listen here and there.
So Bashar says this, and it really resonates with me. Maybe you like it too. He says the physical mind is not designed to know how something happens. It's designed to see how something happened. So the
Mm,
physical mind
mm,
cannot plan. It's listening, following, not knowing what's gonna happen, just trusting. And then you can connect the dots backwards and see
mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, yeah,
Yes. I love that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. And so out of curiosity, and I can imagine more people that are not really or that are learning to discern between the two voices, because we all have the voice. We all have the inner,
Yes.
the knowing, the higher self, the whatever you want to call it, that knows what the path is that is actually your path and it's going to bring you the most fulfillment. And maybe that other fear voice, or I don't know how, yeah, like imposter voice or whatever. So people that don't know how to discern yet, you've gone through it a couple of times now.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of advice would you give someone that is like, yeah, but how do I know if this is really the voice that I should listen to? Like, what is there
Yeah.
something you
Oh
can tell?
yeah. I mean, it's if it feels good,
Yeah,
then that's a clue that it's the right thing for you. That's the guidance. If it
yeah,
doesn't feel good, then it's not.
yeah,
And if you don't know, then
yeah.
do nothing until you know.
And the
That's how I
guidance,
live.
that's also guidance, right? Not knowing is
Yes.
also guidance, like it's not the
Yes.
time. Yeah,
It's not the time. Absolutely.
yeah,
It's not the time. Like it's very simple. I mean, even my whole day is designed that way. It's like,
yeah,
does that feel good to do this now? To stay in all day and work? That doesn't feel good. Like
yeah,
I want some sunshine on my face. I want to feel the wind. Like so, then you
yeah,
can probably relate to this because you're like following your guidance with your fitness. With the videos you're posting, you're obviously listening and just
yeah,
and trusting, like leaping.
yeah. Leaping and working through a lot of stuff as well, because I remember doing a calibration with Gina, and you know who she is, and people who've watched my most recent videos will know who Gina is.
Gina Mallison, yes.
Gina Mallison, yeah. So I've done a couple of calibration because at one point I also felt like, oh my God, I'm in the gym every single day. What must they think of me? Shouldn't I spend my time more, more productive? While I know all of this stuff of follow your highest excitement without being attached to any outcome, these are Bashar words again. I still had to work through some things to fully allow myself to, because I love it. I enjoy it so much, but it's not like what we are taught to do, right? Like I'm not doing a 9 to 5, busting my own
You know
balls. And
what? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I just said it. Yeah, yeah.
Well, good for
So
you.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Good for you
yeah.
because that's what it's all about,
It
and
is.
not having to figure out the how. Like
Yes.
where is this leading? Why am I doing this? I'm just
Yeah.
being guided, but we're being guided to the next step
Yeah.
and to and then yeah.
And I remember you at one point also thinking, and I'm exactly the same. So I have my YouTube channel. Sometimes I post, sometimes I don't. It can be a year, sometimes longer, sometimes a bit less long, that I feel inspired to post something. And there are also rules about that. And you have a podcast. So you had at one point also that you thought, well, everyone says I need to do this so many times. And I don't like, how did you deal with that? Like, what was the process you went through to let go of of the peanut gallery?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm still in that process because, I've taken a couple of podcasting courses,
Yeah.
and they say you need to post on Instagram 3 times a day at least, and to do this, and you need to do that in order to be found, and in order for your podcast to grow, in order for it to be successful. And then, I had a whole thing about that, and I finally came to peace with, wait a minute, that's old thinking. This is we are in a what does Frank Butterfield call it? Like that's strategic and planning. We are in um, metaphysical
Okay. Yeah.
world
Yeah.
where that a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
So okay, so I kind of it's like we go through the ranks of following the rules, of a physical world. And
Mm.
then, you start having this spiritual awakenings and learning more and more and more and realizing, well, those rules don't apply to me. Those rules don't
Yeah.
apply. They really
They
don't.
don't. No.
They don't, because I
No.
can bypass all of that. And
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen in my own life, in others' lives, of course, but I'm seeing it and witnessing it in my own life. So I mean, I just know that those rules don't apply to me.
Yeah.
And although, like, if I want to post on Instagram, like, I'm inspired. It feels good. It feels
Yeah.
good to me now. I
Yeah.
took 3 months off,
Yeah.
October, November, December of 2023. I've never done that before. Like,
Yeah.
not in my, while my business is running.
Yeah.
And I said, no, that's what feels good. I just want to take October, I had my coaching clients,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I took off from the podcast. So really, I had a lot of free time, and I
Yeah.
just loved it. And then January, I was like, okay, January 2nd, I was like,
Let's
okay,
go.
I'm ready.
Let's
Yeah, let's
go.
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it felt good. It felt
Yeah,
good to
exactly.
go.
Yeah.
Felt
Yeah.
good.
It was kind of like hibernation. You just needed to kind of regroup or whatever you want to call it. Like it feels a bit like a seed, right? When you put a seed in the ground and all this stuff, is it called germinate? Like all this stuff happens that we can't see. And then all of a sudden something comes up out of the through the earth. And so you took this time to have some seed sprout, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it was really funny because, I've been hearing this for a while now, that you don't have to do anything to be worthy of receiving, like abundance,
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
And so I have been really integrating that. And
Yeah.
then it's like, I wasn't working really, except for I was, meeting with it doesn't even feel like work to meet with
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
coaching clients because I
Yeah.
love it so much. But,
Yeah.
that's doesn't feel like work. And it's a little, few clients a day, right? The rest of my day's free,
Yeah.
4 days a week, not five.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, my husband shows me this piece of paper. He printed it out, and it says, we're transferring $14,927 into your account.
Yeah.
You probably heard the story. And I just laughed it off, thinking that was one of those errors,
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we, one of the, yeah, that's cool. Like, wouldn't that be nice if that was
Yeah.
true?
Yeah.
But I said, just that alone is a demonstration to me. Like I didn't think it was real. I
For
just thought
sure.
it's not real. Well, guess what?
It was real.
It was
I
real.
I believe in this. I'm so down with that. And it's so cool. Yeah, I heard the story and I thought this is so epic. I love it. And I love how you and other people and myself prove that that's how life works. When you have fun, when you follow your inspiration and your joy, and you stop buying into the old way of doing things, then things will open up and it's magic. Like, why we don't have to
Hmm.
be able to explain, why should we want to just accept that the magic is there and that it's more normal than we think?
Hmm.
So Rhonda,
Yes.
what is it that I, or maybe, so I'm gonna ask you, maybe if it's too personal, or maybe it's not even something really big, but if you don't want to answer, that's the point of this, then you don't have to, obviously. What was the catalyst for your, I'm going to use awakening because I don't know which other term to use for it, but for that you went deeper into the teachings of Abraham Hicks and maybe Neville Goddard and all of these guys? Like, was there something that brought you to that was pretty jarring, or?
Well, I think I have been a seeker, since 17 years old. Well, probably earlier than that, because I remember going to Catholic school, and the nuns were teach us about the Bible, and
Yeah,
then all these, like, to me it was, I was terrified out of nothing against the Bible, but the way that they were teaching me
yeah,
this sounded like a very vengeful God,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
that was, wreaking all sorts of havoc and people killing people. And I was like, what is
yeah,
going on? Like, this makes
yeah,
no sense. So I
yeah,
went at a very young age, even 12, I was questioning everything.
Ah, very good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then at like 17, I just had a lot of depression, and I was seeking. I was seeking, 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 and I started with, and then was very insecure about my body and my weight. I was having a food binging stuff going on for many, many years. And
Mhm.
so I wound up in this program, Recovery's Anonymous, which is more
Mm.
spiritual. We started it in Long Island. I didn't actually start it, but I was one of the first people. And there we learned about the books that Alcoholics Anonymous, the 12 Steps, they study, because that's a very spiritual program.
Mm.
And I remember reading Emmett Fox, Sermon on the Mount. It's a book, and that's one of the
Yeah.
books that they study, the founders of AA.
Yeah.
And like the first page basically says you create your own reality. And
Wow.
I just remember that moment. Here I am, like 17, 18, and my
Yeah.
eyes were just like, what?
Do you remember how you felt? Because it
my,
probably
my
rang through immediately or not. Yeah.
yeah, my mind was blown. I remember that moment. My mind was like blown,
Yeah.
because this
Wow.
was what the founders of AA were studying
Yeah.
in their meetings, the
Yeah.
founders. And
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
what that program was meant to be
Yeah.
about. And
Yeah.
so from there, I've always been in a spiritual mode, going and
Yeah.
seeking and
Yeah.
listening and learning. And just that's been my biggest passion in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me personally, and I'm curious how that is for you. For me personally, when I look back, because I've also went through a journey, and at one point, so now I'm at the point that I simplify everything. And I'm just like, oh, but actually, it's just about dot dot dot. Do you recognize that you, or how is it for you now? Like when you look at the whole trajectory, oh my God, that word
That
that
word.
you went through from, let's say, age 17 until now, and all the things that you've learned along the way. Do you also notice that it's actually way simpler than you might have thought a couple of years ago? Or is that different
Yeah,
for you?
yeah. I think it just keeps getting more and more simple,
Mm,
and soothing yourself is an art.
mm,
And I think soothing yourself is one of the tools to help you stay in alignment. And
yeah,
so I think the soothing is got to be a simplistic parenting type voice. You're parenting yourself
yeah,
by soothing yourself and saying, it, oh, that's okay, that person didn't mean any harm.
yeah,
Anyway, it's not my business. Even just
yeah.
today, like, there's somebody, a friend of my daughter in the house, and they don't act the way I think
Mm-hmm.
they should act. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
I see myself taking it a little personal. They didn't, greet me, whatever.
yeah, yeah,
It's like, okay, just let's give them soothe myself. It's not worth my alignment.
yeah, yeah.
So
Nothing is worth it.
yes. So simplifying it,
Yeah.
the logical brain complicates everything.
Yeah. Wants to, yeah, wants to understand, and there's a reason, and I love the, oh, look, squirrel from Abraham. I use it so
Yeah.
often now, and well, Oprah. I adore Oprah's teaching so much, and I
I
love
was
how.
just on the call with her today with that. This was
No,
before you was my interview with Oprah, with Ramona Galley, who
no.
chat. Just, that's why I'm so high.
Oh my goodness. Oh, and that's going to air soon, or?
Yes, February,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, cool. So I love how Oprah goes into and then she gives examples like, hmm, I wonder how many, and this is an example of mine, I forgot. I wonder how many hairs I have on my head, or like these, like random silly things. And it gets you off the subject that you were trying to hook yourself into, which doesn't serve you at all. And that's so, yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, she was doing that thing. She's like squirrel, you know, using that as an example.
Yeah.
Like get off the subject, change the
Yeah.
subject.
Yeah.
Like I had that little bit of a trigger today, and I just soothed myself. Yeah.
Mm.
You know, I needed to soothe myself a little bit
Yeah.
before I could get off the topic.
Yeah.
And so I just say, okay, look, because they're on their own journey. It's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
my
It's
job to
nothing to do
teach.
with that. Yeah.
Yes, it's not
Yeah.
my job to, to teach somebody manners or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not,
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with me. And just so I could come from that loving place towards that person, if I could at that moment, which I
Mm.
was able to do, sometimes,
Oh, great.
not
Yeah.
able to do it in that
It's fine
moment.
too. Yeah.
And that's fine too. But, and then I can change the subject and go move on with my day. But yes.
It's I think it's a beautiful quality and a gift if you can, like, I call it parenting myself, like
Mhm.
just my inner child needs, and you can give it whatever term, right? Because maybe some people think inner child was that. Yeah, just call it something different. In the end, as long as you can make yourself feel safe, good, that's what it's about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, you have a magic wand and you can just say, poof, I'm interviewing that person and that person is in front of me now. Who would it be,
Oh
Rhonda?
my goodness. Wow. There's so many. Um, I would like to interview, let's see. I have already, and I forgot. I did. I'm thinking Bruce Lipton. I've already interviewed Bruce Lipton. Oh my
You
God, that
did?
was many
That's
years
so,
ago.
really?
Yes,
Again,
many
would you
years
like
ago.
to interview him again?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Joe
Okay.
Dispenza, but I'm interviewing Sarah Landon next month, so I'm so
Yeah,
excited about
I
that.
heard. That's so cool.
I
That's
know.
so cool.
That's like that's really, really amazing. And I would like to interview people like Gabby Bernstein.
Ah, you like, so it's someone you want to, or it's already lined up, or that someone.
I want to. I
Okay,
mean,
and what,
yes.
I met her in Berlin actually, which was it's a story for a different time, but that was really was very magical too. So, okay, Gabby is on your show, Rhonda. What is one question that you will definitely ask her?
Okay. One question that I would definitely ask her is, oh my goodness.
Putting you on the spot here.
Yeah. For some reason, it's popping, and again, following that intuition.
Yeah.
I I know that she, um, she had a I don't know how to say it, miscarriage or stillborn, or anyway, she lost the pregnancy, and the baby was maybe 5 months or 6 months. It was a big deal. So I know there's a lot of women that go through that. Maybe I would interview her about that to help women. I don't know. Like I'd go with that, at the
Yeah.
time, like
Yeah.
with like if I can meet with somebody before and we can discuss like what would be the theme. If not, then I
It's your
know
magic
it'll just
wand.
it's
It's your
my
magic
magic. It'll
wand.
just flow. It'll just flow. But I would love to know best-selling books. Tell me about how to. But again, that's the how.
Hmm.
But mostly I would interview her about her the way of thinking about the law of attraction,
Yeah,
etc., and creating your
yeah,
own life,
yeah,
empowering yourself. And yeah,
yeah,
there's so many great topics to pick it from.
yeah. Cool. Gabby Bernstein. It's so funny, but probably because that's a wish of mine. So Oprah Winfrey, that's someone that I would just love to be in the presence of. So when you said Gabby Bernstein, I thought, oh, I would not have expected that. So that's cool. And I can totally see that happen. I can so see that happen. Like
Yeah.
seriously. Wow, really good. Okay. Um, I have a word for 2024. I have no idea if you're into that stuff. Do you have a word? And if not, what word would be a word for you for this year?
No, it's funny you should say that because I was having dinner with some of my improv friends and somebody brought that up. Like, let's do that. What's our word for the year?
Yeah.
And so when it was my turn, I was saying fun and abundance, fun and abundance. And someone said fundance, fundance. So I said fun dance, fun dance. Yes, that's my word. Fun dance, a made up word. Fun dance.
Love it. And it means so much more because it's fun and dance, but it also comes from abundance and
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I I
Really?
know, right?
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily a dancer or anything like that, but maybe I'll do more dancing, fun dance. It just encompasses all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's cool that you brought up improv because I wanted to ask you something about improv. And I don't want to make it too long. I'm just going to see what time it is. Okay. So, last question, because I don't want to make it too long. It's just, I think it's nicer to have it short and snappy and then maybe do it again sometime if it feels good.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So, tell me about improv because I feel like that's really something
Yeah.
new in your life that you love,
Mhm.
right? How did it
Yes.
come to you and what do you love so much about it?
Yeah. How did it come to me? Well, I was wanting it. It was desire, a
Yeah.
specific desire that I wanted, but e- I didn't really do anything about it. I
But
Googled.
based on what? Like how, because improv never came to my mind. So based on what did improv
Yeah.
come to you?
Well,
And
the podcast, I felt like I was um, holding back or not being myself, not totally having fun. Like I wanted people to see the real me. Like I feel like right now I'm being the real me, but a lot of times especially the first year, second year, I wasn't happy with the way that I was interviewing, the way that I was speaking. So I joined Toastmasters and in hopes that it would help me. And it did. It did, but it's very rigid, like
yeah,
structured, kind
yeah,
of, I wanted more fun and play,
yeah, yeah.
wanted more fundance.
Yeah.
So then my friend, which goes to show you don't have to figure out the how, my friend invited me to an improv showcase free event. And I was like, I didn't even know this place existed
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
It turns out there's a whole huge community here in Asheville of improv people that I had no idea existed. So
All of a sudden, for all out of the woodworks come all these people. That's so funny, hey.
exactly. So I joined and I quit and I said, this is going to help me. I feel like this. So I joined it initially so that I could be a better podcaster, interviewer,
Yeah,
and only to find out, yes, that's true. It is definitely helping me a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
And I'm just doing it because it's fun. I didn't realize
Mm,
how much fun and all
yeah,
the friends and the relationships,
yeah,
meet these amazing people, all ages. I mean, some of them could be my kids. I mean, all ages, and they embrace me. and we do these exercises, these games that I'm just amazed at the things that come out of my mouth. Like, where does this come from? Like, I have these talents I didn't know I had. It's like I'm unleashing them,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
love that. So
Yeah.
because we are everything. We are it all. But then how do you awaken these parts that are still dormant? And it sounds like improv is the way to go for you. I'm not sure if it's for everyone.
No,
But
I don't think
so,
it'd be for everyone.
yeah, but
Like my husband is mortified. Like,
yeah,
oh my God, the idea if he would do something like that. But it's not for everyone, for sure.
but so improv, what do you love so much about improv?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's like silly things. Like, when I walk in, everybody's like, Rhonda's here. It's like so beautiful. And then we play together like little
Yeah,
children.
yeah,
And we're learning a skill. We're actually learning a
yeah.
skill, but
And
I
what is the
don't,
skill? What is the skill
well,
that you're learning?
I mean, you could perform a show. We're basically learning how to put on a show, an improv
Yeah,
show,
yeah.
which I don't
Without,
really, yeah,
because improv doesn't have lines, right? You
right.
in improvisation, yeah.
Yeah,
So on the spot, you have to come up with
yeah,
something.
yeah. Like you'll get suggestions from the audience, like,
Oh yeah,
audience, anybody give me a suggestion for where these two people are, or
yeah,
what's their relationship? So we get suggestions, and then that's it. And then you just start the scene,
yeah,
and it goes where it goes.
yeah,
So why I love it so much is because I think in the beginning when I was doing the podcast, I was in my head more, worried about sounding right or saying the right thing.
yeah,
But with planning, but with improv, there's no planning.
yeah.
There's no time to think. So you're practicing, to me, you're practicing being in the moment. And all our power is in the present moment. So that's why I love it so much.
Wow. I'm seriously, because you and Amanda, I think as well,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Amanda
Because
Town, yeah.
yeah, and I did an interview with Bo, and he was speaking that like he did improv back in the day, and I was like, maybe, maybe, because it sounds like a lot of fun. And I love how you said that like you play together like little children. I'm not sure, I
Mm-hmm.
think you said it like that. And I
Yes.
really believe that that's for me, the gym is just it's a playground. Like my
Mm-hmm.
monkey, I love the monkey bars. Like I feel like such a kid, and I'm just yeah, this is playing. And so this also really sounds like a fun dance playground for grown-ups and well, all ages. Yeah.
Yes, I like your use of fun dance. Yeah, in there again.
Yeah. Oh, so it feels to me like there's so many more questions, but actually I also love that there's still so much more that I would love to
Mhm.
know about you. So I would love to end this interview now. Maybe you want to say something else before we say goodbye and then
Okay,
maybe.
well, no, just thank you. It's such a pleasure to get to know you more. I feel like I know you already, even though we've had just a few interactions, but I just really appreciate the opportunity to get to know you a little more.
Same, same. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, or maybe even more, who knows. And maybe Rhonda will be back another time. And yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day. See you soon.